Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Kathorwani, the podcast of I Am Rohtak, brought to you by the Student Alumni Committee. Today, we have with us Mr. Manish Modi. Mr. Modi is currently working as the Project and Budget Manager at Vodafone Idea Limited. Mr. Modi had done his BBA in marketing from St. Xavier's College and thereafter pursued his MBA from IIM Rohtak. He completed his MBA in 2016 and right away joined Idea Cellular Limited as assistant manager. Hello, sir. We welcome you to our podcast today.
You so much for that introduction.
So let's just start on a very light note. You're working as a lead project and budget manager at Vodafone Idea Limited. So, as we don't know much about what your role is exactly, can you take us through your work profile, your day to day responsibilities, and how your role is impacting the organization?
So the activity of the profile revolves around managing end-to-end projects, which are very huge and impacts the organization as a whole. If I have just to speak about few of my big bets or my big projects that I've handled, it includes a system integration that was during merger and post it as well. Started on September 2018, just completed 2 months back. So that's one of my biggest project where both the systems, both the brands and different IT systems infrastructure, we bought all those one. Okay, so now we've got one system integrated to give the customer experience they want. So under project management, what you entail is the biggest of all is the change management, right? That's the first one. The second you entail is a stakeholder management, because in a project you don't single-handedly rush into the project and get this completed. You need involvement from different departments, from different functions. There are people with different skill sets who give advices, what kind of structure we should follow and all those stuff. So the biggest of all is again stakeholder management. The third, the customer life journey. Everything you do is for the customers at the end, right? So it's very important that you think of the customers while running this project. So these are the three pillars I believe that I carry in my project management. And as far as budget management is concerned, it's more to do with estimating what the cost that you're going to incur in the next financial year, and then having a planning in terms of what is the budget allocation, resource allocation you need to do, how have you performed last year vis-a-vis what you are targeting for the next year, and how can you excel the operations so that you save cost and budget for the company, and obviously giving more returns. So in short, this is my profile that I carry up.
Thank you, Manish. So, while going through your profile, you did work with Idea for 2 years, and right now you're working in Vodafone Idea. And just now you mentioned that you did work for a project during its merging and acquisition. So, can we know about how the merging and acquisition of two different companies, Vodafone and Idea, has helped in value creation?
Definitely, for a value creation, that's first being customers, the second being the internal employees, and the third being the partners and the owners, right? So when we merged, the sole objective of Vodafone and Idea was to give their customers a superior network, okay, and enhancing them to a digital journey. Okay, so for customers, the value creation was very clear and was set apart so as to say that I'm going to give the customers India's best network coverage first. Second, I will also enable them to go digital, right? Because digital is the way forward now. And given the COVID, it's just expanded exponentially, right? So that's value creation for the customers. When we talk about value creation for the employees, the two big brands of Idea and Vodafone came together with the best in class employee policies, best in class employee offerings. There were different, what say, promotions. There were different role exchanges that were being done. There was a meet and greet that was conducted so that both the culture, which were poles apart, came together to form a constructive organization who realized that there is something to be given back to the customers, right? So that was value creation for internal employees, where they're motivated each day to give their 100% and more than that, so that the customers can thrive on the network that they're actually selling. That's for the internal employees. When we talk about the partners, both companies had different partners. where they were asked to merge their technology, their offerings given to us, and in return, what is the ROI that we are giving them back is what was strategized to create value for partners, right? It's and the vision, and it was very clear for the organization so as to say that only if I empower someone else like my partners to thrive, only then can I grow as a company, right? Because there are certain things which are outsourced, and if those are not in proper place, things could go wrong for your company, right? So it's very important and imperative that the partners grow along with you. So that was value creation for the partners. So in a whole, if you see, it was more of a collaborative work in merger and acquisitions which happened, and because of which we stand today where we are, right? And we just strive to grow and grow and touch the boundaries, right? So that was the value creation as per me. There could be much more that the company would have done, but yes, personally, whatever I have observed, this is something that I could comment on. Yep.
Thank you, Manish. As you were saying about the growth that VI is looking forward to. So,
Yeah.
what is your take on the latest news of about 5G norms, and what are the strategies that VI is putting forward for adopting 5G?
So you have to understand what's 5G and why is there a need of 5G technology in India. All right. So I think 5G started long back in 2018 in different parts of the world. Okay. What what the benefit of 5G? As per me, it's the bandwidth and the speed. Okay. And if you see the adoption rate of 3G vis-a-vis the 4G, 4G came into picture within less than a year, whereas 2G to 3G conversion transformation took nearly 2 to 3 years. And now, it's like a lion getting a taste of the blood. Okay, so now you're already equipped and acquainted with the speed that you get on 4G. If you get a faster and an efficient speed from 5G, you look forward to it. Okay, and it's just not the network that I'm talking about. Telecom is not just about SIMs, it's much more than that. There are different cloud technology being built on 5G network. There are different IoT or M2M environment being built on 5G network. Artificial intelligence with the future, it's again built on higher bandwidth network. That is something that 5G is able to provide to different parts of world. To name China as the one country where I have heard that 5G is doing great. Now talking about the government norms, and is we ready to have this 5G technology adopted. So I just refer to one of the media releases being done by Mr. Our MD, Mr. Ravindra Thakkar, where he told that and also the CTO, Mr. Vishant Bohra, where they clearly told that we as a company is ready with the architecture for 5G. When we tell architecture for 5G, that means all our 4G sites are compatible with 5G architecture. So as and when 5G is released for spectrum selling, we will be compatible enough to launch 5G across India. That's first part. The second part is we, together with the government and other telecom operators as well, are on testing phase for 5G technology, right? Before launching a spectrum, which is the 4G technology or a 5G technology, there's a testing being done. There's a use case which being developed basis which the government rolls out the policies and the guidelines. So that testing isn't currently either started or will be starting in a couple of months. So once that is completed, only then we'll have a fair idea in terms of where do we stand, where do we want to take this 5G technology, what's the assistance from the government that we're looking for, and what are the policies or guidelines the government is thinking to give us, right? So as far as 5G architecture is concerned, we are ready. Launching 5G, it just depends on multiple factors, all right. And also to quote your, from Airtel, I think Mr. Mittal also commented that the prices are very high of these spectrums. Okay, because this is a capex investment that we do, right? So having this high prices would not be a feasible option as of now. But once the testing is done, there could be a different thought process from the government side. There could be some leeway that we get as a telecom operator. That just will depend on what are the permutations and combinations that we're looking forward after the testing is completed. So as of now, we are ready, and I think we are really interested to look out the 5G technology because that is going to be the future. That's my again personal views. Huh?
Yeah. Thank you, Manish. That was indeed a
Yeah.
very insightful talk.
Yeah.
Now, my next question is like, we know that right now there is a new shift for communication. People have started using texting, video calls, and other internet options like more. It is being used more than the like conventional voice calls, and consequently the voice call segment has shown a decline in revenue, and this shift is going to persist forever. So how is the future of telecom sector in this scenario,
Uh,
in this aspect?
okay. Uh, Again, I've already told this, but just reiterating, telecom is much more than what we know. Okay, we general perception of telecom is selling SIMs that we use in our
Mm,
phones, right? The telecom
mm,
industry is much bigger and wider in terms of other products also. Like we have broadband, there's IoT, there's M2M. When we say IoT, M2M, it's the Internet of Things. There are smart cities being built up by the governments across, right? Which all require connectivity. Any form of connectivity is something that telecom operators is keen about, right? Now, when we talk about video calling, you cannot do a video call without a network, and so as to say with without a better network, something that we just experienced during this call, right? So you are actually dependent on the telecom providers so as to connect, be it person to person, be it person to machine, be it machine to machine, or be it any kind of connectivity. Because if you see smart homes, there's or smart cars for that matter, on a click of app, the functioning of the machines, which was earlier not possible, is actually possible now. You can switch on and off your AC, you can start the engine of your car, and you can do a lot more with this connectivity, right? So this is something that's going to be the future of telecom, and something that we is investing a lot. If you talk about IoT and cloud, personally, I know for IoT, for the matter of the fact, I'm working on certain projects for IoT, and it's going to be big, right? It's going to be the future. Talking about voice revenue decline, uh, I don't know precisely what the decline percent or why is it declining. But if you see the ARPU in the last quarter result that was declared, the ARPU is increasing, right? So voice revenue, I don't think it's declining, maybe deteriorating, but yes, the average revenue per user is something that's improving, month on month, quarter on quarter, and something that many of the telecom operators have also now consulted the government and given advices so as to say floor pricing is the need of the hour, right? Because telecom industry is suffering a lot, maybe because of the AGR debt and other things. But yes, there has to be a floor pricing, something that you guys might be learning during college, right? The pricing strategy. So that is also important. So yeah, mix of all. There are other factors, other departments to telecom operators just other than SIMs. So that's my personal take here. Yeah?
thank you, Manish. Like, I read in a newspaper article, I think it was Economic Times, the heading was VI to break the duopoly in telecom sector. So having a person from VI right in front of me, I can't just restrict myself from asking this question. What are the new strategies that VI is adopting to break this duopoly?
Uh, First of all, I don't agree to this statement. Telecom industry is not a duopoly market. Even if you just take out VI from this equation, there is BSNL, which is government run telecom operator, right? So how can it be a duopoly? So I'm really against this statement, first of all. But yeah, having said that, I don't think I'm qualified enough to answer this question. But just on my capacity, whatever I can, I'll just try to bring down the table, right? See, strategies in terms of bringing down the other operators is not the lookout of we as of now. You know, it says "Karm karo, fal ki chinta mat karo." It's that philosophy I personally think the company is adopting right now. where they are trying to improve their own expertise areas, and things will fall in line. Say for example, network integration, the largest of all. When we started in 2018 September, the main objective for we was Vodafone Idea then was to have this both network integrated, so as to give the customers the best ever network coverage. And if you are to believe me, Okla had just recently classified we as the fastest network coverage, where its upload speed or the download speed both have been awarded for V as the best network coverage provider. So in terms of network integration, and it's the basic of a telecom provider. If you are able to give a high class network coverage to your consumers or customers, they are going to retain your network, and is also going to cascade it to the other individuals as well. So that's the first strategy that we had followed. The second is system integration. Like as we told, Idea had certain different sets of IT structure architecture. Vodafone then had a different IT architecture altogether. We brought this together to one. Now there will not be any issue in terms of there are different approaches towards the consumer by two different brands. Now it's we. Now with we are going to provide one system, one approach to the customers. Third strategy being followed was a brand integration, the biggest of all, I feel. And being a part of this journey, I feel really, really, accomplished, that I have achieved something. I have been a part of this journey that sounds and feels so good. And at the end of it, we are able to deliver something out to the customers, right? So when we talk about brand integration, if you have known, for last 2 years there were not many of the ads coming out from Vodafone Idea, but now with we getting launched, there are different propositions which are coming out to the customers, be it GigaNet, be it different kind of IoT platforms, be it different kind of product and offerings, or be it different kind of digital experience that the customer get via apps or other stuffs, right? So these are four main strategies that I believe, if gets completed and has already been done, things will place fall in line, and it's going to give us the fruits that we're looking forward to. And at the end, competition is healthier, so that is something that will be taken care of anytime.
Thank you,
Hope I
Manish. I
answered
think
that.
I've yes, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, this is actually a GD question also for us. So I think
Oh, okay.
it was really helpful for all of us as well.
Okay.
So thank you, Manish, for that answer. And
Yeah.
in college, you've done marketing as your major, if I'm not wrong. And
Yes.
right now you're working in budgeting and everything. So like as an advice to all the MBA students out here, what is your what is one advice that you would like to give all the students out here?
The unexpected, right? You cannot be prepared, 100% prepared, I would say, for everything that comes in your career journey or personal life. You have to prepare and adapt accordingly, right? So one advice I would give to the students out here: be flexible. Flexible in terms of learning. There is hell lot of options for you to learn. Never stop learning. That's the one advice, if you ask me, I like to give to the students out there. Keep on learning. That will just benefit you short term, long term, whatever you're looking forward to. But out there, something that you don't expect, right? But yes, if you are planning hard, if you are committed to what you are doing, I think you'll be doing great. So that's just one advice. And second would be, have fun, chill, thoda relax. इतना stress बहुत छोटा है दिमाग. So keep it at ease, relax, because you actually need that. If you are really clogged in your mind that, yeah, I have to do something, things might not fall in place. So just relax. There are 2 years, beautiful journey you're going to have, experience, and just go ahead and enjoy it. Yeah.
Thank you, Manish. It was a really insightful one. We actually, there were a lot of things that we actually only hear through newses and just newspapers, but you gave us a good idea about everything what's happening around, especially telecom sector is something that all of us are looking up to. So
Yeah.
being that, coming here and spending some time with us and giving us such good knowledge, it was really great, and thank you so much, Manish, for that.
We'd love to thank Mr. Manish Modi for making time from his busy schedule and being with us today. We truly had an enriching experience. It was real pleasure listening and learning from your experiences. We're really grateful to have had you here today. For more such episodes of Kathor Vani, stay tuned. We'll be back with yet another episode soon.